young monk's name was Ananda, a name that meant bliss. Yet bliss was the one thing he could never seem to find. Each morning, long before the sun touched the monastery roofs, he rose from his mat, folded his robes, and sat in perfect stillness to meditate. His body was quiet, but his mind was already somewhere else. After this meditation, I will finally feel calmer. After the next retreat, I will become wiser. After I overcome this last weakness, and I will be at peace. Even while breathing in the present, he was living in tomorrow. Ananda devoted himself completely to the path. He memorized hundreds of sacred teachings. He chanted every verse with flawless precision. He swept every courtyard stone with careful attention. Yet even while performing each task, his thoughts rushed ahead. How many more years until enlightenment? How many more lessons? How much longer until he finally became enough? The harder he reached for peace, the farther it seemed to drift away. One evening, the monastery's abbot quietly called for him. "You have practiced diligently," the old teacher said. "You keep every precept. You meditate faithfully. You study without complaint. And yet, you carry your face like a man carrying a stone." Ananda lowered his eyes. "I am trying, Master. Surely, after one more insight, after one more victory over myself, peace will finally arrive." The abbot simply smiled, then pointed toward the monastery garden. "Go spend the afternoon with the gardener." The gardener's name was Frasum. He was not a monk. He had never memorized great teachings. His hands were rough from years of working the earth, his back bent with age, yet there was something strangely effortless about him. He watered every flower as though it were the only flower in the world. He removed weeds without annoyance. He paused to admire a tiny caterpillar crossing a leaf. Nothing about him seemed hurried. Nothing about him seemed unfinished. Ananda watched. Minutes became hours. The sun slowly crossed the sky. Inside his mind, impatience grew louder. "I am wasting precious practice time. I should be meditating. I should be studying. I should be making progress." Finally, he could remain silent no longer. "Old father, how do you not grow tired of this? How do you work without constantly thinking about what comes next?" The old gardener smiled. Without speaking immediately, he gently pointed toward a single unopened marigold bud. "If I forced this flower open today, what would happen?" "It would tear," Ananda answered. "It would never truly bloom." The gardener nodded. "And yet, that is exactly what you do to yourself. You pull open today's petals with tomorrow's fingers." The gardener carefully picked up a dried marigold resting on the ground. This flower opened when its time came. It never hurried the sunrise. It never mourned yesterday. It never begged for tomorrow. He gently placed the flower into Ananda's hand. "You collect tomorrows, like a miser collects coins, always saving them, always believing happiness waits just one day ahead. But tell me, have you ever spent even one tomorrow?" Ananda looked silently at the flower resting in his palm. The old man continued softly. "You believe peace waits at the end of a road. But peace is the road. You believe happiness is somewhere ahead. But happiness is this step. You believe enlightenment is a future destination. But perhaps it is simply seeing this moment completely, before judging it, before resisting it, before wishing it were different." For the first time in years, Ananda truly noticed where he was. The scent of wet earth, the warmth of sunlight, the gentle wind, the sound of insects hidden among the flowers. Nothing had changed, except the one who was looking. Without trying, his shoulders relaxed. His breathing slowed. The tension he would carried for so many years quietly slipped away. When the abbot arrived at sunset, he found Ananda sitting exactly where he had left him. One silent tear rolled down the young monk's face, but the burden was gone. His face no longer carried a stone. That night, Ananda did not meditate for hours. He simply sat before a single candle. He took one slow breath, opened his eyes, and smiled, not because he had reached enlightenment, not because he had mastered himself, but because, for the very first time, he had completely arrived. The lesson is not that striving is wrong. Growth has its season. Discipline has its purpose. Rain does not hurry to become a river. It simply falls, and in falling, it is complete. Peace is not a reward waiting at the finish line. It is the permission to stop running. Right here, right now, on this very breath, because the only moment that has ever truly belonged to you is the one you are living now. Most of us wake up and immediately start planning, worrying, scrolling. What is one small thing you can do tomorrow morning to arrive at today? Instead of running ahead,